Hey Energy Campers, today I'm going to show you how we can put together a kit of a solar car. Now there's a lot of solar car kits that you can find, but I'm going to show you one basic one that when we're done is going to look like this. Now I'm using the power of the sun. This is going to be able to drive forward. Now there's some other kits out there that might go forward and backward, but this is a pretty basic straightforward one that you can put together in a couple minutes and then you can take outside to test out in the sun. So our kit here comes with the body of our car. We've got our 4 wheels. We've got some nuts and bolts that we're going to use to attach our wheel and axle to go along with it. A couple of washers to make sure that our wheels don't rub up against the side of our car. And of course our energy source here. We've got a solar panel and a little motor that are going to attach to the solar panel to absorb the sun's energy, and then that is attached to our motor, which is going to help our car go. So I want to start out today with attaching to my body of the car the parts that are going to come together to make my wheel and axle. Now this particular kit comes with some small screws that I'm going to attach. So each of these is going to get 2 screws, and then I'm going to tighten them down with a small nut on the other side. This kit comes with a small screwdriver to use. You're going to want to get this snug, but it does not have to be overly tight. You just don't want it to come loose while the car is driving around. You don't want to have any extra friction or anything else slowing your car down while it's driving. So I'm going to get this first one attached here. Spin those by hand, and then just to make sure I've got it snug, I'll come over with my screwdriver, tighten that one down. So I've got the first one on there. I'll get my second. I'm going to need 4, so I've got the ability to attach my wheel and axle. Okay, so again, just enough to get this snug on here. And be careful you don't want to drop any of these parts. Some of these ones on this kit are kind of small. All right, and again, let me just make sure that's snug. I don't want that to come loose while it's driving. All right, let me get my other 2 on there. All right. Okay, so that one's a little bit more snug. I'm going to use my screwdriver to help me spin that the rest of the way down. All right, and attach so it doesn't fall off. Oops, as I drop that little piece, that's all right. Just don't want to lose it. All right, that, oops. Here we go. All right, spin that on there. Okay, again, make sure it's snug. Good, and one more. While I'm getting this last one on here, one of the things that's going to help this go in our solar car is the fact that we're using a wheel and axle to help this move freely. Now, wheel and axle is one of our simple machines, and simple machines can make life much simpler. And so this is a good example of one that's going to help our car go. So we got one last one to attach here. And there we go. Okay, so now that I've got this on here, I've got 2 holes here. Now I'm going to put it in the bottom hole. And the reason I'm going to put it in the bottom hole is because if I put it in the top one, I might get some friction. I might rub up against some of my screws there. And we don't want friction. Friction slows down the force of motion. It slows down the motion of an object. So we want to make sure that we don't have any extra friction on there because we want our solar car to be able to move. And it's a lot more fun if it moves quickly. So using this top hole here, the one farthest from the body of the car, I'm going to slide that through so that it spins freely. And then I'm going to put on these little washers on the end here. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a little space in between the wheel and the body of the car. And that's important because if the wheel starts rubbing up against the side of the car, well, that's again going to create friction. It's going to rub and it's going to slow that down. So it's going to be a little bit of a buffer in between there. Here's my wheels that I'm simply just going to slide on. These just slide on nice and snug. These don't need any other attachment there. And before you're done there, just give it a quick turn. Make sure that's going freely. I've actually pulled this together a little bit too tight right now, so I'm going to actually pull that back out just a little bit and make sure that that spins much more freely. Now, the other one, you'll notice looks a little bit different. This one has a gear on it. We were talking a minute ago about simple machines. Well, another simple machine is use of gears. Well, this gear and the teeth on this gear are going to match up with the teeth on our motor. And so when our motor spins, it is going to turn this gear on this wheel and axle. So this one looks a little bit different. Again, I'm going to slide in the hole that's farther from the body so I don't create any friction. And I only need one of my spacers on this one because the gear will act as a spacer on the other side. We will attach our wheels again. Very good. And make sure that it's able to spin freely. You don't want that rubbing up against anything. And then this particular kit and solar panel comes with tape attached. So simply to get this one on the body of my car, I'm going to find a spot on the body of the car where it can stick. I'll place it on there. And then when I attach the motor to it, I want to make sure that the teeth of the motor match up with the teeth of the gear, so that when the motor is spinning, it will also turn this gear and the wheel. Now, it's not spinning anywhere right now because we need to get some power from the sun to make it go, but we will take it outside in just a second, test them out, and have a little race between these two. One last note, just make sure that you keep those wires out of the way. If they rub up against the wheel, it's going to give us some more friction and slow us down. So just make sure you got those tucked off on the side. So we'll see you outside in a second for our solar car race.
All right, Energy Camper, so I've got our two solar cars outside right now, and I'm going to have a little race with them here in a second. But before I do, you can see that when I let the sun shine right down on that solar panel right now, I see that that motor's turning and the wheels are going. But as soon as I cover that up, all that power is gone because I'm taking away its energy source and its power source. So I uncover. Oh, and there we got a little bit of cloud coverage, and that took it away from us too. But without that sun's energy, because this is a solar-powered car, it's not going anywhere. So as soon as this cloud passes and we get a little bit more of the sun's energy shining down on it, we'll be able to set these two up and have a little race.